Hello and welcome to Get Into Games on Air, a podcast about board games and the people who play them. Nailed it. My name's Craig, as always, from Get Into Games. And joining me, as ever, is Rebecca. Hello.
Hello. Why am I not Becky today?
I don't know, but I succeeded in my my quest to do the intro right.
You did. I was just waiting for you to get
That was good. I knew my name.
Excellent.
Cool. And that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the podcast. This is episode 28, Divide and Conquer. That is right. We have the wonderful Kathrine from No Drinks on the Table joining us here in the podcast studio, virtually.
She's not in the podcast
virtual studio.
She's on the computer.
She's
in the podcast.
Yeah. Words. Yeah. Hi, Kathrine.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming on to the very ever professional podcast that is Get Into Games on Air. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
How are you? How has your week been since the launch of your lovely Kickstarter?
Good. Busy. Yeah, very busy and interesting. Yeah, and very, very hard to not keep looking at my phone.
Yep.
Checking the numbers.
As they keep up. Yes, so firstly, congratulations. It's been amazingly successful so far, 150% beyond the goal that you'd set, which is amazing news, and things can only get better. So if you're listening to this right now, you can guarantee that you're going to get the game. So you may as well just go and back it and do the right thing and get one with a big wooden box. Go on, you do that. Tell them Craig sent you. Yes, cool. So firstly, should we get to know Kathrine better?
Okay.
Should we just go straight in with some quick fire questions?
Absolutely.
I like this idea.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so, yeah. Sure.
Excellent.
She's a bit nervous. Right. First game you ever played?
Probably going to say Monopoly, but to be fair, there's a lot of games. I'll throw a random one out. Canasta.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. You didn't hear about
Probably
that.
not the first game I ever played, because I probably didn't get that when I was young, but...
Yeah, that's cool. The first game you ever bought?
Catan.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big.
A theme you would always play?
A theme? I like building, some sort of engine building.
Okay, cool. Your favourite mechanism then, I guess, is engine building. Yeah.
I'm not sure about a theme.
Okay.
I like a lot of themes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Favourite player count?
Probably 6.
Oh, why 6?
I quite like a lot of games that have a high player count, so I do like a lot of 2-player games, and I probably play 2-player games more often.
What sort of games do you play at 6?
I can't think of that now. Like Mysterium, things like that.
Oh, yeah, like social deduction type thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. Colour you choose to play as?
Red.
Oh, same as you.
Good
You could
choice.
never play together.
Good
I
choice.
thought a little twin of I play red.
Yeah, nice.
Most interesting place you've played a board game?
I don't know. At the park?
Okay.
Nice.
That's still an interesting place. How far have you travelled to play a game?
Italy.
We had someone else who played a game in Italy, didn't we?
Maybe they played together.
Was it Half No More?
Possibly.
Can't
Yes,
remember.
it was. Yeah, it was.
Oh, maybe they did play together.
Oh my gosh.
A game you never want to play again?
That's... I can't think of something, but there's probably plenty of things. No, nothing springs to mind. What have I not liked? I don't know that
That's
one.
good if there's nothing that you immediately just...
Nothing immediately comes to mind. I'll probably think something later on.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Your favourite board game memory?
I pulled a face there, which obviously no one probably saw.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if it's a favourite board game memory, but it's definitely a memorable moment when we were playing as a family, and it was the first time we played Scythe, and my brother forgot to mention how to score, and so we all had really low popularity apart from him. And
Oh no!
I got quite annoyed.
That's a massive thing though, because the popularity in that game is like key to the scoring.
Yeah.
And if you don't nail that, then you might as well just give up.
Yeah.
Especially it's a long game as well, like 2 hours in. It's like, you've got 5 points. I got a 500.
That's crazy.
So not necessarily my favourite memory, but
one that sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
When you play Side now, do you make sure to tell people that rule straight away, like so that
yeah, I think so.
Your favourite convention?
Oh, I got to say UK Games Expo, I think.
Nice.
This is the biggest and the best.
Mm.
The most beautiful game you own?
Oh, most beautiful. I don't know. I quite like Caper.
Oh
Nice,
yeah,
that's a
I
great
really
choice.
like that game, and the artwork's really nice.
So
isn't it?
good.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
sick. Your most underrated game, so a game that most people don't know about, that you like really rate it.
Param.
Oh yeah. That's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Nice. There we go.
Cool. There we go. We've got
They
to know
were
you a
all
little
my
bit
questions.
better.
She can relax now.
Yeah.
Because all the future questions are going to be things that she knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on the spot stuff, but actually it's quite interesting.
Yeah. It makes you think, like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I'm not sure how I do. One day you'll have to ask me the
I
questions.
will. I'll have to write them because you write them, so you know what the questions are.
Yeah.
That's true. Then I have to
Cool.
do work. Then I have to do more work on my own podcast, and I am against that.
We know.
I don't want to do the writing and the editing. Editing. So, we've asked those quick fire questions, but I think we need to get to know Kathrine a little bit more. So, why don't you introduce yourself, introduce why you're here, your game, and introduce yourself and who you are, your company, your game, all that good, joyful stuff.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, as you know, I'm Kathrine McMillan. No Drinks on the Table is my name that I've decided to call the publishing company I want to run. Played games, for I don't know however long. I mean, I'm the youngest of 4, so we just grew up playing games, which was great. And then because I was probably a little bit like, my brother, and I played Warhammer quite a lot actually at a young age, and Magic a lot, and then maybe not so much anymore. I kind of was like, actually, no, I like other games.
Yeah.
So that's a bit about me.
Cool.
No Drinks on the Table comes from that being a saying that was said a lot in the family.
So as in you're not allowed to have the drinks on the table because you might spill it over the game?
Any drink came near the table, it was like, no drinks on the table. So I was like, I just got to...
Was there a drink accident that led to the no drinks on the table?
I think there had been when I was younger. That wasn't my fault. I think there had been. And I know there was a time as well somebody stood on the... Because we used to play lots of games on the floor. And someone stood on like one of the pieces and like broke it. I think a Cluedo person.
Oh dear.
Must have hurt your foot as well.
Oh yeah, almost as bad as standing on Lego. Ouch.
Yeah.
So yeah, Divide and Conquer is your game. It's a 2 to 5 player card drafty kind of game where you're drafting conkers and drafting rope and having conker battles that we can't have anymore because children hurt each other.
Yeah.
2 to 4, you got it wrong. I'm looking at the box.
Take that
There's
on
2 to 4.
Yeah, I suppose it says that, but it also says prototype copy, so I don't know. But also, it was a test. I was testing that Kathrine knew her stuff. Because what I'm going to ask now is to describe her game.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay. Well, I can describe Divide and Conquer. I've had a lot of practice at it now.
That's good.
So yeah, Divide and Conquer. Essentially, Conkers, like you've said, the game of Conkers with the string, turned into a card game. So you draft Conquer cards, hardener cards, which are things like your glue, your vinegar, your varnish to improve your Conquer, and then you battle your opponents. So 2-player game, obviously it's just 1v1, back and forth, roll the dice, hit, miss, destroy, win. Then 3 and 4-player changes the aspect a little and the way that you draft a little, but essentially the same game. A few changes actually, interestingly, since you said you got the prototype copy. There are a few edits to the game, which I think will be quite good. And to the drafting aspect for 3 to 4 players changed a little because there's an odd number of cards per player. So the people who are left with less cards actually start with a string.
Oh, okay.
Just
nice.
to, be a little bit nicer.
Yeah,
that's Divide and Conquer. 2 rounds, 7 battles. Yeah.
So did the game come about because you liked playing Conkers, or you thought there are no games about Conkers, or how did that come?
Yeah, so weirdly enough, the actual idea came from when I was playing Tapestry, and they, when you conquer an island.
Oh yeah.
And it was literally just we conquered an island, and I was like, oh, what about a game about conkers? That was it. That was it. But I was at the time, there was a small box competition going on for the Game for After, I think. And so I was like, oh, that could be a game that could go into a small box and work really well. So it literally just came by me thinking, what game could I do for a competition? Conkers came up, and I went, ooh. So yeah.
So did you enter the competition with that idea?
I did.
Oh, right. Oh.
No, because I started doing it and I was like, I like it too much.
You wanted to keep it for yourself?
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't want to rush it because it was the competition times are quite quick turnaround. So
yeah. So how long does it take from like that, when you were playing Tapestry and that idea to getting it to Kickstarter? Like how long is that period of time?
Well, okay, so I think I've been working on this for 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. But other games in between, which I then pause Divide and Conquer for and just randomly start making another game. But yeah, this one was the one that I kind of felt like had the most, I guess, pull. Yeah. And it's a nice small game, so I thought I could manage it a bit more instead of starting with a huge game, which I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So
I guess at conventions as well, it's like a quick teach, so you can get quite a few people through playing it and experiencing it, whereas we've known people who've had like big box games and it takes an hour to show you, and then you're not getting that many people seeing your game. So I guess that's a positive.
I think a lot of people like small box games now. Like, I love a big box game, but especially for conventions, if you want to pick up something, you want a small box because you can have it easy travelable. So
I think a lot of people travel with their games and meet up with friends and take. I certainly know that like when we went to the seaside or we went to the safari park, we took a couple of like small box games with us.
Yeah.
You don't want to take your massive Tapestries.
I think that's something else as well. It's a good size. It is portable, so you can be playing it on the train. You can play it around. You don't always have to be like only at home because it's a giant box that I have to transport everywhere.
Yeah. I think the other thing that drew me into this game is the artwork. Yeah. So where did you get the idea for the how would you describe that artwork? It's like kind of Japanesey kind of.
It's almost Ghibli, but
yeah, it's a little bit. So, I'd done some initial drawings of. I wanted to make them. What do you call it when you make it alive? I can't think of the word.
Anthropomorphized conkers.
Oh, you like that one?
Yes.
Isn't that where you change an
word.
animal into a person?
It'd probably come out all wrong if I said it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted that. And then I kind of found I put up actually a sketch of what I was thinking on a Facebook group. I said, "Can anybody help me?" So yeah, I had a couple of people reach out, and this person who did the artwork, David, was really good with just going, "This is what I do," and I was like, "That style works," but I wanted to make it a little bit more cutesy than his style.
Yeah.
I kind of said something like Sushi Go / Angry Birds kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That,
I think the characters like definitely draw you in.
Yeah.
And then when you draft the card, you're like, I want that character, like the Colonel or whatever it is.
Yeah, and a lot of people call the Marine, which actually is now also changed to Captain, the duck.
Yeah.
They say they want the duck. So they want that card because of the duck.
Yeah, I think that because that's the thing with a lot of games where there's the cards have a specific power and you're playing for the card, you're playing for the points or whatever the bottom of the card is. But with this, you are specifically going, I want that character because that character looks cool. Oh, he does this. Yeah. He gives me 2 less dice than that one. I don't care. He's riding a duck or whatever. Like, it's definitely like the artwork. There's the full package it's very good. It's very I think it's quite a nice. The artwork does look quite like family friendly. It is a family friendly game, but there is a bit of strategy to it that actually makes it a bit more complex. So yeah, it's a very good little game. So you mentioned that you had like other plans before this or during this. Have you got other things in the pipeline, or are they just shelved at the moment until this is?
They're kind of shelved. I've got another one I am working on in the background, which is completely different. It's actually a fashion game.
Oh, that's cool.
Fashion game and quite a bit bigger. It's a bit daunting, really. When I'm working on it, I'm like, oh, there's so much to do with it. But I think it will be really good. And I've had people play test it already, and I've already had people go, oh, are you going to bring that next time because they want to test it again? So I'm like, at least that's a good reading on it.
Yeah.
So have you always like been driven to go into the board game, making board games? Has that always been like where you thought you'd be heading, or is it taken you by surprise that you started making board games?
I used to design board games a lot when I was little, but then I started writing books. And so then I tried writing books, and then I was like, I'm not good at this. So then, games just kind of came about from literally me being at home and having an idea, writing it down, and then running with it. So, which also, that was my first game I worked on, which now, from the start of when I started on it, is a brand new game. It's not the same as what I started with. So
I loved seeing on Instagram, I think it was either yesterday. Was it yesterday where you posted the, like the very first drafts of the game on your bits of paper? It's like great to see how it's gone from that to like, the Kickstarter version. It's really cool.
So was this was your first time having a stand at UKGE, or were you?
Yeah.
Had you been many times before that? I've
been once before.
Just as a regular person, or did you do the play testing there? Or
no, just as a visitor.
Regular punter.
And I knew I had wanted to go previous years, but I was like, I haven't got around to it. I was like, I'm going to go this time. And then when I applied as an exhibitor the next year, or for the next year, I wasn't expecting to at the point I went last year. It was quite a snap decision, which actually went really well. So I'm quite good with that snap decision.
Yeah. How did you find the whole convention process? People coming, play testing.
The play testing side of it I found really good and quite easy. Natural, not really easy, but the actual setup of it and getting all of the stuff prepared for it was like, oh, there's a lot to think about and carry, and then get there on time, because I also did that preview showcase thing.
Oh, yeah.
Before, and I was, a bit late, but I got there.
So do you have any like top tips or things that, if you were to do it again next year, is there anything that you do differently regarding the convention, or, tips for people who might be going to, I don't know, showcase their game?
I think purely just, because it was my first one, I hadn't had a game to sell, and I'd had loads of people asking me if they could buy the prototype, and I was like, no, I can't sell you the prototype. So next year, if I go again, it would be nice to actually have a game I can physically sell and have something else that I am demoing. So that would be kind of my tip, but it's more of a tip to myself. But
I guess because people were seeing it, we sat down and played it, and it felt like properly finished. It didn't. We went to some tables where it was like, well, this is the book, and it's going to be very different from this or whatever. It felt like a fully finished game, which I guess is why people wanted to try and take the prototypes away.
Yeah.
And because it's a small box game, I assume people are like, yeah, well, I'll pay £15, £20 or whatever it is for that, because that's fairly reasonable. But I think that had you had copies there, like, they would have flown out the door, I reckon.
Yeah, it would be nice to do that again.
Yeah, but it's part of the process, isn't it? Once you've kickstarted it and there are games, then you'll be able to do that next time. So,
had you been to any other conventions, or have you got any other conventions in the pipeline for next year? Or
so I just recently went to the Aircon Manchester one.
Yeah.
And then we had the Little ZatuCon, which is
nice.
Nice, actually. I wasn't sure what that would be like, because I know it's in a pub, but it's actually quite a big pub. So that was really good. And then I've got what else? I've got the Dice Box Showcase.
Oh yeah, the Dice Box Showcase. Oh yeah, we remember that.
I've got something else. I'm going to Playfest UK, so more playtesting, which is where I'm going to take the fashion game.
Nice.
And then there's something else. I've got a few things coming up, but the only other thing I've been to before that was Dragon Meat.
Okay.
So quite different scale.
Yeah.
Quite different.
Are you thinking of Aircon next year? The Harrogate one?
Harrogate one, yeah. I'd like to do the Harrogate one. Yeah.
Cool. That's really nice as well, because it's much more intimate than UK Games Expo, and there's only a few like exhibitors really.
Yeah.
It's one hall.
A lot more open gaming, and yeah. Cool.
So how are you finding the whole like self-publishing, organising it all yourself from your end? It must be quite a lot to kind of organise.
Yeah, it's a lot to organise, but I quite enjoy it. So it's more just, I find it more of the remembering the things that you have to do. That's harder, but doing them isn't too bad. The only bit I'm learning more so is the marketing side of things, getting people to like know who I am. But that's coming along. So
I think the more that you go to these conventions and people hear about your game, and then there's a lot of, I certainly know that from our point of view, there's a lot of word of mouth. Like, have you seen Divide and Conquer? And then the next person is like, no, show it to me. And then you show someone, and then it gets some buzz. That word of mouth is quite powerful.
Yeah, we've pretty much played it with everyone that's we've had come over. Yeah. I know our neighbours, Neuro Dicey, Dale and Midge, they've backed the Kickstarter. They played it here and backed it immediately, kind of thing. So it was all it's it's definitely getting out there. And I think again on that art work kind of is selling it hugely, because it's just an adorable looking game.
Yeah, it definitely draws people in.
Am I right in saying that you're part of that proto hype group? Mm-hmm. So that must be quite nice to have people who are at similar stages to you.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
trying to help each other to work out what needs doing, or give each other ideas. And do you meet up, or do you just talk online? And
it's talking online, but actually a bunch of them were at the aircon, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, we met up then, which was really good. But yeah, it's really helpful when you're just like, oh, is that something I should be thinking about? So you just ask them, and they're like, yes. And you're like, I should do that then. Yeah, or just like, people sharing their ideas is really useful. But yeah, the fact that like there's also that kind of like all in together sharing content kind of thing works really well. So I found
it's good to have that support network, because I can imagine that sometimes it can feel pretty lonely, especially if it's something you're not familiar with, or there's a hiccup in the shipping or something. It's nice to have people you can go to and say, did you have this problem, or how did you overcome this? And must be quite helpful to have that kind of.
So with ZartuCon, obviously you were there, and that was right. So I've never been to a ZartuCon. So was it what is it? Just in a big pub, essentially?
Yeah. So
and just vendors, or
no? There was they had a couple of events going on. They had like play zone area, and they had a Blood and the Clock Tower event going on. Nice. And then it was about 8 exhibitors.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was. I didn't actually get out of my zone. I was just at my table basically all day. So I didn't get to see like a lot of it, but I know there was a lot of stuff going on because I talked to everybody that came over. So yeah, and then they did like a raffle thing at some point, and I think one person won 3 prizes.
Oh wow! I'm never lucky enough to win one of those.
Yeah, I'll never win one, let alone 3. But
the ones at UKD are like immense, aren't they? Like you could win 24 games, and have to be lucky.
It's the aircon raffles where there's like big bundles of like 40 games, and huge great things.
So we talked to what's
Mike?
Mike, is that the guy at Hofnagel?
I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. No, I couldn't remember. That's why. We talked to Mike about like the whole play testing, and how does that work from your point of view when you're putting a game out? How helpful is it to have play testers and to experiment with the game, change things up?
Yeah, I mean, playtesting it is very helpful. There's obviously like a bunch of different types of playtesting you can do. You can do like the blind playtesting, and then the actual playtesting when you're also playing, which I think is quite useful because when you're playing it, although it may seem like you're like just changing the rules midway through the game, you're like, oh, actually, no, let's carry on doing what your opponent started doing, because actually that rule maybe works a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'd say that the playtesting is very important, but the blind playtesting I find more challenging because my rule book writing skills are not great. So trying to get down what's in my head, because I know the game, onto paper, and then go, somebody else here, play it. Basically, they're just testing the rule book rather than the game at this point.
Yeah.
So that has to come in a bit of a later stage for me.
Yeah. It's quite hard. I think it's very difficult because some of the games we have, the rule books are really easy to read, really helpful, and you're like, yes, okay, got it straight away. And then there's other rule books, and you're like, what do you mean that? It's so difficult to get just the right wording to make the most people understand it, because our English language is just filled with so many words that mean different things to different people, and it's really hard to get that fine-tuned and just make sure that it's accessible to everybody, and try not to over put too many explanations in. I find the ones that work the best are the ones where you have like a diagram and some writing so you can see it. But I tend to watch like playthrough videos rather than read the rule book as much.
Mm-hmm.
But someone has to read the rule book.
Well, I know, but like I think it's easier to watch someone do a playthrough of the game than sometimes read a rule book.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I generally do the version of let's play the game, and I can kind of, if you can get away with it, depending on what game it is, just go explain the rules as you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Easier.
It makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
It does. What was I going to say then?
That's right.
So would you ever release any of your books that you've written? You said you were writing some books.
Have you already?
Oh, maybe she has already.
Ooh.
Yeah, no. It don't know what I'm talking about because I released it when I was younger and it's not great.
Oh,
So no,
what kind of a book is it?
I do actually have one on Amazon.
I'm going to have to look it up now.
Huh?
Is it also about growing avocados? Because I know someone.
It's a theme.
No, it's more of like a fiction coming of age kind of vibe, which when I read it now for me is really cringy. And I'm like, oh. And it's not that well written, but the main I kind of got to the stage where I was writing it for about 2 to 3 years, and I was probably started it when I was like 14. So I was just like, I just want to publish it and get it and have it done, and then it's something. And I had a couple people buy it, which were basically friends and family. And then I just like left it there. I was like, okay.
So did you self-publish that book?
Yeah.
Wow. And now you're self-publishing games.
Yeah. So
maybe some of those skills were transferable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of them. But yeah, it's different writing fiction than rules. Like, I found the fiction a lot easier because I could just say whatever I wanted.
Yeah, it can be a bit fluffy and it doesn't matter.
But it
really.
does, it does make me cringe when I read it now. But that's because, I'm reading something that I wrote when I was younger.
So would you ever write another book, do you think? Would you go back to that?
I might. I'd probably write more like short story kind of things. And if I was to do a genre, it would be, not horror, but like thriller.
Yeah.
More like kind of something along the lines of Women in Black.
Yeah.
They're fun to write.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
I had a question then and it's gone from my head.
Was it about renting board games?
No, but you can go there.
Was it?
Well, I think of my question.
Well, if it was about renting board games, I've just got the company for you. Did you know that Rent, Shuffle and Roll sponsor this podcast?
Well, they do now.
Who are Rent, Shuffle and Roll, I hear you ask? Very good question. If you head to www.rentshuffleandroll.co.uk and use the code GITG50, you can get 50% off your first month of board game rentals with Rent, Shuffle and Roll. That's it. That's the ad. That was good. Well done, team. That's GITG50, 50% off. Rent, Shuffle and Roll.
I remember my question.
Rent it, shuffle it, roll it.
So my question was about are they crocheted or knitted?
They're crocheted.
Crocheted.
Yeah.
So how did they come about?
With a crochet hook.
Obviously. I meant, did she have a friend? Did she make them herself?
I did not make them myself. I don't have much skill in that at all. So no, I did get somebody to make them, and they were just purely because I was like, they will be so cute. Because I was like, these are cute little characters, and I want them to be little key rings that I would just imagine someone like hanging it on their bag or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, they came about because I just thought they'd be cute, and then I got them made, and I'm doing them as giveaways, and then I realised I should have had an extra one made for my son because he looked at them and went, I want one, and I was
like, Can you get more made?
I can get more made.
You could have, I could imagine them on like, like cushions as well, those plushy cushions. Mm-hmm. They'd be quite cool. You could have a whole line of like merchandise for Divide and Conquer.
I like it. Actual like little foam dudes on string that you can actually hit each other with.
And that's kind of where I was going with the keyring vibe as well, because I was thinking of just having them as like a squishy. And then I was like, wait a minute, if I put them on key rings, then it's kind of like they're on a string.
Yeah.
You can't really play with them, but, gives the same vibe.
Have a good go.
I like it. Yeah. No, they're really cool. But yeah.
Yeah. I've asked all
You've
my
asked
questions.
all of your questions.
I have.
Lovely
The
questions.
ones that I wrote down because you don't write any questions down.
I wrote loads of questions.
In your head?
In my head. And that's where I didn't ask any.
You did.
I did. No, I know, but none of the written down ones because I don't have any.
Terrible.
So we ask all of our lovely, lovely guests when we have them for their board game menu, their ideal starter, main course and dessert in a board game for board game night. And have you managed to come up with a menu?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if I was to do, it'd probably end up being loads of like big games, but I thought I won't do loads of big games.
Okay.
Generally, actually, if I do have friends over, we don't play the big games, although I want to. Okay, yeah. So I guess what was it? Starters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going with Caper.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's a 2-player, but
just have lots of copies of it.
yeah.
Or it could just be on teams, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got multiple rounds. You've got 3 rounds, haven't you?
Exactly.
So you
take it in turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No problem
Caper's a good one. I had the original version and then I got another version, secondary version, which had updated and new pieces, and it was actually really
Ooh. I don't know what version we've got.
We've got Caper Europe because there was Caper and then there was Caper Europe.
Yes, that's the one I've got now.
They can't see it on the screen, but I'm holding it up.
This is
they've
great.
got Caper Europe. Yeah, it's one with the it looks like that.
We don't have the deluxe one with the metal coins and all the shiny shinies. We've just got the cardboard coins. Then it's sad.
I think I've got the metal coins.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is a good starter. Then.
See, that's a good
I have got the metal
starter.
coins because it's really nice. I like the metal coins. Generally, if there's an upgrade for metal coins, I will do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a sucker for upgrades.
Yeah.
What's your main course then?
Main. Oh, is it main? Is it starters and main?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
don't normally have your dessert in the middle of the meal.
I
I want ice cream.
You can eat it in whatever order you like.
Okay. I went with tapestry. I have mentioned already. I do like a bit of tapestry.
We've only just recently come to Tapestry, haven't we?
Yeah.
We just recently played it. I really enjoy it. Although, how do you feel about because we found we played it a few times and one person generally, I can't say generally scores way more than the other person.
Yeah.
I've had it where there's usually a kind of clear winner, but not like by like loads.
Oh, okay. Maybe we're playing it wrong.
Or maybe we're playing it because it's 2 players.
Yeah, so I've played it 2-player quite a bit, but we played it quite a lot as well. And I think our first game we only scored 50. So, and now we score like 250. So I don't know if it's just
One of those games you have to keep playing.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, I can't remember what any of the cards are called now, but if you get the right card and you've got the right board, it just works out really well.
Yeah.
It is very satisfying. Like, I enjoy the moving up the track and the minis, the buildings are like super cute. Like, you want the space one because it looks cool.
And you're trying to fit them on that board in that polyomino sort of shape.
It definitely has like a table presence to it.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think it's one of those ones that when it's working how you intend it on working, it's really satisfying. You're like, oh, yay!
Definitely. What's your dessert?
What's my dessert? Okay, I went with sounds fishy.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Something a bit different for the evening, which can be kind of funny. Not necessarily good at it, but I like it.
It's nice because it's got that bit of that deduction to it. So you're trying to work out who's like being a convincing liar and who's telling the truth.
It's got the big clip, isn't it?
Yeah. So trying to find the red herring out of the. Yeah.
My other option for that was Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh yeah.
So Sheriff of Nottingham was one of the first games we ever had.
Yeah.
Oh really?
And we don't play it very much anymore.
I think
it's because you have to have 3 players or more.
Yeah, and you do have to really I find that you really have to ham that game up. You have to really just get into when you're the sheriff, you really have to get into character, and you have to be really, really silly about it. And I struggle because I'm such a shy person.
Of course.
I struggle hamming anything up. So yeah,
that's what all the listeners think.
That's why both of them listeners.
No, I just find whenever I play that game, everyone it just seems to think I'm trying to smuggle something through, and I'm like, I'm seriously, I'm not. I am not. So yeah.
And it's like, how did that crossbow get in there? I don't know.
I don't necessarily smuggle anything, but I'll say I've got like 3 apples, and like I've actually got 4 apples, but I just miscounted.
Yeah. No, I like doing that one.
And then it's like, oh, I didn't actually mean to.
Yeah,
I tripped myself up, but it is a good deduction kind of game. It's good fun.
So I'm hearing, because obviously we played Blood on the Clock Tower together as well. So you like a bit of social deduction and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I see I probably would play them more, but a lot of people I like playing games with don't necessarily like those games because they're not good at bluffing, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want to play them more.
You've also got to have larger player counts, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
You've got to wait till you have 7 other people who want to play Blood on the Clock Tower to play it in person.
And things like deception, murder in Hong Kong, and those kind of things, you need just more people to.
Although we're quickly training the kids up, so we've played Crooked Crown, Cheese Thieves. They're getting very good at lying to us, which I'm not sure is a good quality that we want to have.
But no.
But at least if you actually play it, you'll pick up on the cues.
That's true. Yeah. So I know.
But we've had to teach our littlest. So our littlest is 4. We've had to teach her how to play it so that she doesn't spoil it for herself. So we're like, in Crooked Crown, you have to steal a crown and you want to have it at the end of the game. And so we said, well, if somebody takes it, then you have to say something like, oh no, or mummy's still got it, or and so she over dramatizes it. Obviously she gets that from her dad, and we can all tell what's happened, but she's just playing what we said for her to do, and then she'll pretend to cry when it's gone, and it's hilarious. It's really funny watching her do that.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful episode. And if you are listening and you have not yet backed Divide and Conquer,
when does the Kickstarter finish?
26th of September.
Okay, so they got loads
26 days.
Yep, 26
as
days.
of recording.
Oh, I know what I meant to mention. I think that it was really good that you didn't put a massive number on the Kickstarter, as in I need this huge amount of
£4 million.
The money that you asked for was a really reasonable amount for the game, and I think that's probably why it's done really well, because I think sometimes with some Kickstarters it's we need this amount of money, and you're like, well, what are you going to spend all of that on?
Or we need this amount of money, but you're trying to sell a game for £20 per game, and it's like, well, how are you going to make that?
Do you know what the time frame is for finishing the Kickstarter to people getting their copies?
Should be March.
That's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. Should be March.
Yeah.
Depending on if everything goes well. Yeah. Timelines. Yeah. So.
But I mean, some people wait for Kickstarters for a year, 2 years. So the fact that you're saying less than a year is,
some
positive.
people are still waiting for certain Kickstarters after many, many years.
I'm waiting for one, I think, for 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
You're not going to get Tri-T for 2. If it's Tri-T for 2, it's not coming. Don't worry about it.
No, it's not that. It was actually something I intended on getting for someone as a present.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Happy birthday. Oh, dear.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. The fact that they've taken your money and then 5 years later it still hasn't arrived. That seems disingenuous.
Yeah, it was £90 as well. So.
Do you still get messages about what stage it's up to?
Yes,
you still are?
Yeah, but it's a bit weird. It's it's shipping still, and you're like, what?
How long does it take? Where's it coming from?
Shipping, it's just on the Titanic, unfortunately, right now.
Oh dear, no, that's crazy.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like people will get their games pretty soon after they've
Yes. I mean, hopefully none of that happens with me. It will, yes, be smooth sailing.
It will be.
Yes. So if you are listening and you liked what you heard, please go to the Kickstarter today or any other day, but preferably right now.
As soon as you close
you've closed this box. Actually, I know it can play in the background while you back it. I'll wait.
You actually would as well. This could be painful. Just go and do it, because otherwise you have to listen to the silence. Please speak now. This is not funny anymore. Craig, talk.
Okay, that's given you plenty of time to back it. Thank you very much for backing that. Did you just back the normal pledge, not the deluxe? Okay, go back. Go back if you didn't back the deluxe pledge, and if you could go back to the deluxe one.
The wooden box, no?
The wooden box, yeah.
Wooden box. The wooden box one. I'll wait.
Aim high, Craig.
I'll wait.
And with all the add-ons.
Are there stretch goals?
There are stretch goals, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you're a retailer as well, there's plenty of good retailer pledges. So if you are from Kienda or Out of Town Games or Zatu or...
We didn't mention the Dicebox publisher, should we?
Or the Dicebox.
Because if they want to... Doesn't that come before the Kickstarter finishes? So
It does.
If
you want to check out Divide and... Look, I don't work for... Oh, wait a minute. If you want to check out the Dicebox, yeah, please do that. But make sure you book a table. Thank you very much. If you want to check out Divide and Conquer before the Kickstarter ends, if you're thinking, Craig raises mighty fine points, and as always, he's very, very clever and handsome. If you think he's a very, very brainy, smart boy, you can come to the Dicebox Publisher event on the 10th of September at the Dicebox in Leamington Spa. You can go onto the Eventbrite page in the bio of their Instagram or their Facebook or wherever, or their website, and click on the events and click on the Dicebox Publisher Showcase event, and you can book your tickets, come on down, and you can play Divide and Conquer with Kathrine herself.
Might even play it with me.
And maybe Becky too. And then you can obviously go around and see the wonderful John from Tywin Games and Millenaris Games and Huff No More as well. But also you can play Divide and Conquer and then back that Kickstarter immediately. Thank you very much for joining us, Kathrine. This has not been a rambling end to an episode ever. And thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, or even if you haven't, but just give us a 5-star review anyway, because it's always fun. Or if you're on Apple, you can write a lovely little review that says, Craig's wonderful. So's Becky. Kathrine was good too. There you go. That would be a great review. 5 stars all the way. It'll help the podcast out. Please remember to check out rentshuffleandroll.co.uk using code GITG50. Help keep the lights on in the podcast studio, that being the kitchen. And yeah, that's everything from us. So, Kathrine, do you have any final words of wisdom?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, no. I was caught off guard by you saying kitchen.
Excellent. And on that note, remember to...
Yeah, her final words will be divide and conquer. Remember
to...
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, divide and conquer and get into games. Thank you. See you later. See you next week. Bye-bye.